I found the Valentine's card wedged under the bench seat of my own truck. Not addressed to me, addressed to a man named Troy Hutchins. My hands shook as I read it. To the only man who ever made me feel alive, this year we finally get our second chance. Forever yours, D. The paper was thick, professional. In the bottom corner, barely visible, sat a logo, Troy Hutchins Real Estate and Development. The November wind cut across the ranch, whistling through the barn slats behind me. Metal gate latch burned cold through my work gloves. My breath came out in clouds. The cattle were lowing, waiting for their morning feed, but I couldn't move. Denise had borrowed my truck yesterday, said she needed to run errands in town. I read the card again. Then a third time. That card wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what I found when I checked the glove box. Hotel receipt, the Crossroads Inn, 2 towns over, dated 14 days ago, room 217, 2 nights. I sat there, in the cold truck cab, diesel engine ticking as it cooled. The receipt was folded small, tucked behind the registration papers. She'd tried to hide it, not well enough. My wedding ring caught the weak morning light. 43 years I'd worn it. First marriage ended when cancer took Linda. 20 years ago now. Thought I was too old to be alone. So when Denise came along, seemed like a second chance. Guess we both got second chances, just different kinds. I folded the receipt, put it in my shirt pocket with the card, started the truck. Cattle still needed feeding, no matter what else was falling apart. That's the thing about ranch work. It doesn't care about your problems. The morning routine settled my mind some. Hay bales broken and scattered, water troughs checked for ice. Fence line walked on the South 40. Cold air filled my lungs, clean and sharp. I could think out here. By the time I came back to the house, I had a plan. Not a good one maybe, but a plan. Denise was at the kitchen table with her coffee and her phone. Always that phone lately. Screen tilted away so I couldn't see. She glanced up when I came in, boots stamping snow off on the mat. "Morning," she said. Didn't smile. "Morning." I poured coffee. The percolator was still warm, that burnt coffee smell mixing with her perfume. Used to like that perfume. Now it just reminded me of lies. "You sleep okay?" she asked. "Well enough." "Good." She went back to her phone. 3 months ago, she'd have asked about the cattle, about my day, about something. Now she just scrolled. I sat across from her, sipped my coffee, let the silence stretch. "Been thinking," she said finally, "about what we talked about before." "What's that?" "Selling the ranch, retiring somewhere warm, Arizona, maybe, or New Mexico." There it was, Arizona. I kept my face neutral, but my jaw tightened. "We've been through this, Denise. I'm not selling." "You're 67 years old, Walt. How much longer are you going to break your back out there?" "Long as I can." She set her phone down, looked at me direct for the first time in weeks. "We could have a good life somewhere else. Nice condo, golf, travel. Isn't that what retirement's supposed to be?" "I don't golf." "You could learn." "Don't want to learn." Her mouth pressed into a thin line. "You're being stubborn." "I'm being realistic. This ranch is paid for. No mortgage, no debt. It's my grandson's inheritance. I'm not selling it so we can blow the money on some condo in Phoenix." "Your grandson's," she said, voice cold now. "Not ours. They're family. They're reminders." She stood up, grabbed her coffee mug. "Reminders that I'm just the second wife, that I'll never measure up to perfect Linda. That's not fair, isn't it?" She walked to the sink, dumped the coffee. "I'm going into town. Don't wait up for lunch." She left without another word. I heard her car start, tires crunching on the frozen drive. I pulled out my phone, stared at the number I'd found last week, tucked in an old address book I'd nearly thrown away. Hank Cordell, Denise's older brother. They hadn't spoken in 10 years, not since some argument about their mother's estate. Denise said he'd tried to cheat her. Hank said she was ungrateful. I'd stayed out of it then. Different story now. My thumb hovered over the call button. We were having Thanksgiving in 3 days. Ruby was coming, Denise's younger sister. Maybe I'd wait, see if Ruby knew anything, see if I was imagining things. But I wasn't imagining that card, that receipt, that cold distance in her eyes. The house creaked in the wind. Outside, the sky was gray, heavy with coming snow. Weather report said we'd get 6 inches by tomorrow. Storm season starting early this year. I thought about the card again. This year, we finally get our second chance. This year, meaning it was planned, meaning she'd been working toward something. I looked around the kitchen. My coffee mug, the one my grandson made in pottery class, her cookbooks on the shelf, barely touched anymore. The calendar on the wall, with nothing marked except doctor appointments and hair salon visits. When had we stopped being a we? I didn't confront her. Not yet. A smart man gathers evidence before he goes to war. And if this was war, and that card sure felt like a declaration, then I needed to know exactly what I was up against. I picked up my phone again. This time, I called Hank. Thanksgiving came cold and tense. Ruby arrived early afternoon, bringing pumpkin pie and worry lines around her eyes. She hugged Denise at the door, then me, holding on just a second too long. Good to see you, Walt. You too, Ruby. We settled into the living room, wood stove crackling, heat pushing back the chill. Outside, fresh snow covered everything white and clean. Inside felt anything but clean. Denise barely spoke through dinner. Pushed turkey around her plate. Picked at stuffing. I'd cooked most of it myself this year. She used to love cooking Thanksgiving. Used to love a lot of things. Ruby tried to fill the silence with talk about her grandkids, her garden, the new coffee shop in Lewiston. I made appropriate sounds. Denise stared out the window. So, Ruby said finally, setting down her fork, how are things with you two? Fine, Denise said. Too quick. Just fine? Ruby, don't. Don't what? Ask how my sister is? You haven't called in 6 weeks, Denise. I've been busy. Busy with what? Denise stood up fast, chair scraping. I need some air. She grabbed her coat, went out the back door. We heard her footsteps crunching across the snow toward the barn. Ruby looked at me. What's going on? I considered lying, considered saying nothing. Instead, I got up, pulled the Valentine's card and hotel receipt from my desk drawer and set them in front of her. She read them both. Face went pale. Oh, Walt, I'm so sorry. You knew? Not this, not... She touched the card. But I knew something was wrong. She's been different. Secretive. Started talking about money all the time. About how she deserved better. Better than what? Better than a ranch in Montana, I guess. Better than... She stopped. Looked at me with something like pity. She said you were boring, that you didn't understand her. Understand what? That she wanted to live before she got too old. That's what she kept saying. I want to live, Ruby. I want to feel alive. There it was, that word again. Alive. Same word on the card. Who's Troy Hutchins? Ruby asked. Real estate developer. Her old boyfriend from high school, near as I can tell. Looked him up, runs some company out of Helena. Ruby set the card down like it burned her fingers. This is printed. Professional paper, his company logo. I know. That means it's not just an affair, Walt. That means it's a plan. The wood stove popped. Logs settling. I could smell the pine smoke, the turkey going cold on the table, Ruby's perfume, something floral that Linda used to wear. I called Hank, I said. Her eyes widened. You called my brother? Needed someone who could dig, someone who understands money, legal things. He was an IRS auditor for 30 years. Denise will lose her mind if she finds out. Denise lost something already. Don't think her mind's the biggest concern right now. Ruby folded her hands. What did Hank say? Meeting him tomorrow at the Junction Diner. He's driving up from Billings. What are you going to do, Walt? I looked toward the window. Could just see Denise's silhouette in the barn doorway, phone pressed to her ear. Always that phone. Don't know yet, but I'm not selling this ranch. Whatever she's planning with Troy, whatever they think they're going to do, this land isn't part of it. It's marital property. Montana's a marital property state. I know. She could force a sale. Take half. I know that too. Ruby stood up, started clearing plates. Her hands shook slightly. She's my sister, Walt. But what she's doing, Daddy would have been ashamed. He taught us better than this. Your daddy was a good man. So are you. She paused at the sink. I won't take her side on this, just so you know. Appreciate that. We cleaned up in silence. Denise came back in 20 minutes later, face red from cold, eyes avoiding both of us, made some excuse about needing to leave early, about a headache. Ruby hugged her goodbye. I didn't. After Ruby left, Denise went to the guest room, said she'd sleep there because I snored too loud lately. Wasn't about snoring, we both knew it. I sat in the kitchen after she'd gone. House quiet, except for the furnace kicking on, the old refrigerator humming. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, join account, started going through transactions from the past 3 months. There. The Crossroads Inn, 2 charges, both overnight stays, one in October, one 2 weeks ago, and something else, cash withdrawals, $500 here, $300 there, adding up to almost $4,000 over 3 months. My attorney's number was in my contacts. Vera Polk handled Linda's estate after she passed. Good woman, fair. I looked at the time. 8:30. Too late to call tonight. I'd call first thing Monday morning. Because Ruby was right. This wasn't just an affair. This was a plan. And if Earl knew, the whole town knew. Time to control the narrative. The Junction Diner smelled like bacon grease and burnt coffee. I got there 10 minutes early, took a booth in the back where I could see the door. Vinyl seat creaked under me. Jukebox in the corner playing some old Waylon Jennings song. Hank walked in at exactly 9 o'clock. Hadn't seen him in 10 years, but he looked the same. Taller than me, lean, gray hair cut military short, wire-rimmed glasses. He carried a leather briefcase like he was still heading into the office. Walt. He shook my hand. Firm grip. Hank, thanks for coming. Family's family. He slid into the booth across from me. Even when family acts like idiots. Dolly came over with coffee. She'd been working this diner since before I moved to Montana. Must be pushing 75 now, still hustling tables like she was 40. Morning, Walt. Usual? Just coffee today, Dolly. Same, Hank said. She filled 2 mugs, gave me a look that said she'd heard things, and left. So, Hank said, tell me. I pulled out the card and receipt, slid them across the table. He read them both. Face stayed neutral. That auditor training. Finally, he looked up. Troy Hutchins Real Estate. You know him. Know of him. Helena's not that big. He tapped the card. This is expensive paper stock. Custom printing. He's trying to look successful. Is he? That's what you want me to find out? That? And anything else you can dig up. Financial records, property holdings, legal troubles, whatever you can find. Hank leaned back, studied me. You know what you're asking? This kind of digging, it can't be undone. Once you know things, you can't unknow them. I already know my wife's in love with another man. Already know she wants me to sell my ranch. Hard to unknow worse than that. Fair point. He pulled a small notebook from his briefcase. When did this start? Can't say for sure. Noticed her getting distant around September. Phone always face down. New clothes. Started talking about selling the ranch maybe 6 weeks ago. Cash withdrawals? $4,000 over 3 months. He wrote that down. Joint account? Yeah. That's legal. Messy, but legal. He tapped his pen against the notebook. My audit senses are tingling, Walt. Something about this feels off. Not just a fair off. Something financial. Ruby said the same thing. Said Denise has been talking about money a lot. About deserving better. Better costs money. Hank's jaw tightened. She pulled the same thing with our mother's estate. Thought she deserved a bigger share because she'd visited more often. Never mind that I'd paid for the nursing home when Mom's money ran out. She said you tried to cheat her. She rewrites history to suit herself. He closed the notebook. Look, Walt, I haven't spoken to my sister in a decade. Part of me wants to help you just to prove she's still the same selfish person she was back then. But part of me, the better part, wants to help because you're a good man. You took care of her when I couldn't stand to. You deserve better than this. Appreciate that. Give me 3 days. I'll have something for you by Tuesday. We shook hands. He left cash for the coffee and walked out. I sat there a while longer, watching snow fall outside the window. Light flakes, nothing serious yet. But the weather report said a big storm was coming midweek. I pulled out my phone, looked at the Notes app where I'd been tracking everything. Dates, amounts, evidence. Hank was right. Once you start digging, you can't stop. When I got back to the ranch, Denise's car was gone. Note on the counter, at yoga, back this afternoon. I went to my office. Small room off the kitchen, just big enough for a desk and filing cabinet. Pulled out the folder where I kept important papers. Land deed, title to the truck, receipts for major purchases, the engagement ring, bought it in Billings 12 years ago, $2,800, appraised at $3,200 now. My name on the receipt, her car, 2019 Honda Civic. Title in my name because her credit was garbage when we bought it. Paid cash, $15,000, the diamond tennis bracelet I gave her for our second anniversary. Receipt said $1,800. Gold earrings from last year, $340. I made a list. Itemized everything I could prove I'd bought. Everything with my name attached. Then I called Vera Polk. Walt Brennan, been a while. Been a while since I needed a lawyer. Her voice sharpened. What's wrong? Need to know about marital property law, Montana divorce regulations, asset protection. Silence. Then, come see me Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Appreciate it, Vera. Walt, Don't do anything stupid before Monday? Wasn't planning on it. Good. Because whatever you're thinking about doing, wait, let me help you do it right. I hung up, stared at my list. That's when I opened the local newspaper website, went to the classified section. Creating an account took 5 minutes, then I started typing. For sale, 2019 Honda Civic Silver, 35,000 miles. Clean title, in my name. Currently driven by soon-to-be ex-wife who decided her ex-boyfriend was more interesting than our marriage. Excellent condition. She can find her own ride to see him now. $2,500 or best offer. My finger hovered over the submit button. Vera said, wait, do it right. But something in me needed this. Needed to push back. Needed to make her feel even a fraction of what I felt finding that card. I hit submit, then I kept going. For sale. 14K white gold engagement ring, 1 carat center stone, original appraisal included. Bought this for a marriage that lasted until she decided nostalgia was more valuable than commitment. Appraised at $320. Will accept best reasonable offer. For sale. Diamond tennis bracelet. By the time Denise came home, I had 6 listings live. The newspaper website, Craigslist, 2 local buy and sell Facebook groups. Earl had already texted me asking if everything was okay, if I was serious about the ads. Dead serious, I texted back. By noon, the ads had been shared over 200 times combined. My phone started buzzing around 1 o'clock. Messages from numbers I didn't recognize, comments on the ads, shares multiplying. Dude, I'm sorry about what happened. That's rough. Is the ring still available? She really thought posting that was a good idea. Respect, man. I'll take the earrings if they're still available. My wife would love them. Some called me petty. Most called me a legend. I didn't care either way. I cared about the offers. By 2 o'clock, I had 3 legitimate inquiries about the car. One from a guy named Russell who wanted to see it that evening. I told him 7 o'clock. Earl called at 2:30. Walt, your ads are everywhere. I mean everywhere. Someone shared them to a group called Savage Divorce Support. You got over 500 shares now. Good. You sure about this? Never been more sure of anything. Then I'm posting them in the feed store, free of charge, on the bulletin board where everyone can see. Appreciate that, Earl. She done you wrong, Walt. Whole town knows it. Time she knew we knew. He hung up. I sat there at my kitchen table, listening to the wind pick up outside. Temperature dropping. That storm moving in like the weather report promised. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 3 more calls in the next hour, all unknown numbers. I checked one voicemail. Hi, this is Patricia from Channel 5 News. We saw your post circulating online and would love to speak with you about... I deleted it. Another voicemail. Denise's sister Addison, voice shrill. What the hell is wrong with you? Take those posts down right now. You're humiliating her. Call me back. Not a chance. At 4 o'clock, Denise called. I stared at her name on the screen for 3 rings. Answered. Where are you? Voice shaking. At home. Where else would I be? Did you post my car for sale online? Correction. I posted my car for sale online, the one with my name on the title. Are you insane? People are sending me screenshots. My entire family is calling me. My mom is crying. Funny. When you posted that photo with Troy, you didn't seem concerned about how your family might react. Silence. Then, what photo? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Denise. I found the Valentine's card, found the hotel receipts. I know about Troy. I heard her breathing, fast, panicked. That's completely different. You can't sell my car. Again, my car, my name, my money that bought it. You just drove it. That arrangement is ending. You can't do this to punish me. I'm not doing this to punish you. I'm doing it because you made your choice public in your own way. I'm just making the consequences equally public. I'm coming home right now. Don't you dare meet with anyone. Russell's coming at 7. You might want to hurry. I hung up. Checked my posts again. The car listing alone had been shared over 600 times now. Comments were in the hundreds. This man said I'm done playing games. The way he documented everything. King behavior. She really chose chaos and got consequences. A text from Ruby. Walt, what's happening? Addison just called me screaming. Are you okay? I texted back. I'm fine. Just taking back what's mine. Another text, this time from Pastor Glenn. Walt, I'm hearing some concerning things. Can we talk? I ignored it. At 5:30, I went out to the barn. Checked the cattle, though they didn't need checking. Just needed the cold air, the familiar routine. The storm was closer now, sky gone dark gray, wind carrying the smell of coming snow. When I came back to the house at 6:15, her car was in the driveway. I could see her through the kitchen window, pacing. I walked in. She spun to face me, mascara smudged under her eyes, face red. "Take them down now." I closed the door behind me, stamped snow off my boots, didn't look at her yet. "Russell just confirmed he'll be here in 20 minutes. I said take them down.
And I said no.
She grabbed my laptop off the counter, opened it, started scrolling through messages, 53, unread, offers, questions, people asking for updates. "This is insane," she whispered. "People are messaging me. My boss saw it. My Aunt Maureen called my mom asking what's happening. Do you understand what you've done?" I took the laptop back from her hands. Set it down. "I understand exactly what I've done. The question is, do you understand what you did?" It was just, I didn't mean, it was just what? A Valentine's card to your ex-boyfriend? A caption saying, "Home is where the heart is," while you're planning to leave me? Just hotel visits while wearing the earrings I bought you? Her mouth opened, closed. She hadn't expected me to know about the rest. "How did you... Your Instagram isn't as private as you think. Neither is your credit card statement. Joint account, remember?" She sat down on the couch, put her head in her hands. "We can fix this." "Fix. We can go to counseling." "No." "You won't even try?" "You didn't try. You made a choice. You planned it. That card was printed, Denise. Professional paper. Troy's company logo. That's not impulse. That's premeditation." The doorbell rang. Russell, right on time. "Don't answer that," she said quickly. I walked to the door, opened it. Russell was mid-40s, wearing a Titans cap and work boots. He nodded at me. "You're the guy with the Civic?" "That's me. It's in the driveway." Denise appeared behind me. "It's not for sale anymore. There's been a mistake." Russell looked between us, clearly picking up on the tension. "The post said it was available. I drove 40 minutes. "It is available," I said. "Title's inside. Want to take a look at it first?" "Stop this right now," she hissed at me. Russell shifted uncomfortably. "Look, if this is a bad time..." "It's not," I said. "Give me 2 minutes." I went to my office, grabbed the title, maintenance record, spare key. When I came back, she was standing in front of Russell, arms crossed. "This is my car. He can't sell it." Russell examined the title, looked at her. "Ma'am, if his name's on the title, it's his car legally. We're married. And I'm filing for divorce Monday morning," I added. "So we won't be married much longer." Her face went pale. "You're not serious." "Dead serious. I already spoke with a lawyer Friday afternoon. Papers will be filed first thing Monday." Russell cleared his throat. "I'm going to look at the car now if that's okay." I tossed him the keys. "Check everything. New tires from March, oil change last month. All records are in that folder." While Russell inspected the car, she followed me back inside. "You spoke to a lawyer. When?" "Yesterday, right after I saw your Valentine's card. Made an appointment, went in during lunch, discussed options. Turns out when your spouse publicly declares their heart belongs somewhere else, you have grounds. I want to fix this. We can go to counseling, start over." "No. You won't even try." "You didn't try. You made a choice. You celebrated it with everyone except me. Now you deal with the outcome." "What about everything we built together?" I gestured around the room. "You mean everything I bought that you used? Because that's what this house is full of. My money, my furniture, my name on the lease. You contributed what exactly? Your part-time yoga job that barely covers your spending? That's not fair. What's not fair is coming home to find out my wife's heart belongs to someone else. That's not fair. This..." I pointed toward the driveway where Russell was checking under the hood. "This is just consequences." Russell knocked on the door. I opened it. "I'll take it. 12,000 cash like I said. Can you meet me at the bank tomorrow morning so I can withdraw it? 10 o'clock work for you?" "Perfect." They shook hands. Russell left. She stood in the doorway watching the taillights disappear down the drive. Snow was falling harder now, thick flakes catching in her hair. "You actually sold it?" "Yes." "How am I supposed to get to work?" "Bus runs every 30 minutes. There's a stop 2 blocks from the yoga studio." She turned to face me. For the first time, I saw genuine fear in her eyes, not of me, of the situation she'd created. "What happens now?" Now I keep selling. The ring's being evaluated Saturday by a buyer. Bracelet and earrings are pending. Everything with my name attached gets liquidated. You should start packing your things. Where am I supposed to go? That's your problem to solve. You chose your path. Walk it. I went upstairs to the guest room. My phone was still buzzing with notifications, messages, offers. I answered every single one. Saturday morning, I met Stella at the Junction Diner. She brought her jeweler, an older man named Walter, who examined the ring under a loupe for 10 minutes while I drank black coffee and answered emails on my phone. It's authentic, Walter confirmed. Quality stone. Excellent setting. I'd appraise it at $3,400 current market value. Stella handed me a cashier's check for $3,000. I'm sorry about what happened to you. My daughter's getting engaged next month. This ring deserves a better story going forward. It will, I said, shaking her hand. When I got home, Denise was sitting at the kitchen table with her mother Pauline and her sister Addison. An intervention. How predictable. We need to talk, Pauline started. Nothing to talk about, I said, walking past them to the stairs. Addison stood up, blocking my path. You embarrassed her in front of everyone. Family, friends, co-workers. Do you have any idea what you've done? I know exactly what I've done. Question is, do you know what she did? We saw the card. It was inappropriate. Yes, but it didn't warrant this level of retaliation. Retaliation? I pulled the cashier's check from my pocket. I sold items that belonged to me. Last time I checked, that's not illegal. You humiliated her publicly, Addison snapped. She humiliated our marriage publicly first. I just responded in kind. Don't start fires if you can't handle smoke. Denise came down the stairs, eyes red from crying. Can we please just talk alone? We already talked. You know where I stand. I deleted everything. I blocked Troy. I'll do whatever you want. You blocked him after you got caught. That's not remorse. That's damage control. Pauline stepped forward. She made a mistake. Marriage is about forgiveness. Marriage is also about respect, loyalty, and not planning to leave your husband for your high school boyfriend. She broke those rules, not me. So you're just going to throw away 4 years? Addison challenged. She threw them away when she wrote that card. I'm just cleaning up the wreckage. I went upstairs to pack more of my things. I'd already signed a lease on a small house across town. 2 bedrooms, decent yard, move-in ready by Wednesday. The landlord, Griffin Shepherd, didn't ask questions when I explained I needed a place fast. Just ran my credit, which was excellent, and handed over the keys. By Sunday afternoon, most of my clothes were packed, my electronics, important documents, everything that mattered was in boxes in my truck. She watched from the bedroom doorway as I worked. You're actually leaving. Tuesday. Movers come Wednesday for the furniture I'm taking. Which furniture? The couch I bought before we got married, the desk for my office, TV from the guest room, anything with my name on the receipt. You're taking the couch? Unless you've got $1,200 to buy it from me. She didn't. Monday morning, I filed the divorce papers. By Monday afternoon, she was served at work. Her sister called me screaming about how I'd embarrassed her at the yoga studio in front of clients. She could have been served at home, I said calmly. But she wasn't there when the process server came by. Not my problem. You're being vindictive. I'm being efficient. There's a difference. By Tuesday, the remaining items had sold. The bracelet went to a woman named Piper for $650, the earrings to someone named Sloan for $280, every transaction documented, every penny deposited into my personal account that I'd opened Monday morning. Wednesday morning, the movers arrived at 8. Denise was already gone, staying at her parents' house. Good. Made things easier. They loaded my furniture, my boxes, everything I was taking. The house looked empty when they finished. I did one final walkthrough, checked closets, cabinets. In the bedroom, I found the Valentine's card printed out and tucked into her jewelry box. The one she'd supposedly deleted. She'd printed it before taking it down. I left it there. Let her keep the memory. At my new place, I spent Wednesday unpacking. Kitchen boxes first, dishes, coffee maker, the basics. The house smelled like fresh paint and possibility. 2 bedrooms meant one could be an office. One for when my grandsons visited. The couch fit perfectly in the living room, my TV mounted on the wall. By evening, it looked like a home. Thursday, I went back to work. Gilbert, my supervisor, asked how I was holding up. Better than expected, I said honestly. Your posts are still circulating. Saw one shared on Reddit yesterday? Good. Let it circulate. Maybe it'll teach someone something. Friday afternoon, my lawyer called. She wants to negotiate terms. Her attorney reached out. What terms? I want nothing from her. She can keep whatever's in her name, which is basically nothing. I want the divorce finalized, and I want to move on. She's asking for spousal support. I laughed. Actually laughed. Based on what? Her part-time yoga job? We were married 4 years. She contributed nothing financially, and she's the one who blew up the marriage. Tell her attorney good luck with that argument. Will do. This should be pretty straightforward then. Give it 6 weeks, maybe 8. That weekend, Ruby texted me. How are you doing? Really? I texted back, honestly, relieved, like I finally stopped carrying something heavy. She replied, good. You deserve peace. Denise made her choice. Now she gets to live with it. Sunday evening, I was in my new backyard when I heard a truck pull up. Hank carrying a 6-pack of beer. Heard you moved. Thought you might need company. Come on back. We sat on the back steps. No porch yet, but I'd build one eventually. The evening was warming up. Still cold, but that deep winter cold was easing. You could smell it in the air. Spring coming. How you feeling? He asked. Honestly, relieved, like I finally stopped carrying something heavy. The posts died down yet? Mostly. Still get occasional messages from people sharing their own stories. It's wild how many people have gone through similar things. You became an icon, man. Marriage over. She chose him. Everything must go. That line is everywhere. I just wanted my stuff back. Didn't plan on going viral. But you did, and you handled it perfectly. No begging, no drama, just cold execution. It wasn't cold. I was angry. Still am sometimes, but I wasn't going to let that anger make me stupid. Troy ever reach out? Nope. Disappeared the second things got messy. Turns out he only wanted her when she was safely married to someone else. Hank shook his head. She lost everything chasing nothing. That's usually how it works. And we drank beer and talked about everything except her. It felt good. Normal. Later that night, I got one final message from Denise. I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. I stared at it for a long time. Then I blocked the number. She was right. I did deserve better, and now I had the chance to find it. 2 weeks passed. February rolled in cold and gray. I settled into routines at the new place. Coffee at dawn, work, home, simple. Then Pastor Glenn called. Walt, I'd like to schedule a time to talk about reconciliation. Nothing to reconcile, Pastor. Marriage is a sacred covenant. I think if we all sat down together, you, Denise, myself, we could work through this. Denise broke the covenant, not me. Pride is a sin, Walt. Forgiveness is a virtue. Something in me snapped. So is adultery, Pastor. Which one you worried about more? Silence. Then, I'm trying to help. Then help her understand actions have consequences. Help her understand that loyalty matters. Help her understand that you don't get to betray someone and then demand they forgive you because it's inconvenient for you that they won't. Walt, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I'm not coming to any meeting. She made her choice. I made mine. We're done. I hung up. Sunday, I didn't go to church. First time in 6 years. Sat on my back steps instead with coffee, watching the sun come up over the hills. Snow was melting in patches, mud showing through. You could hear water running somewhere, ice breaking up in the creek behind the property. My phone buzzed. Vera, we need to talk. Can you come by my office Monday? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Something's very right. I'll explain Monday. Monday morning, I sat in Vera's office. Leather chairs, law books lining the walls. She had a folder open in front of her, reading glasses perched on her nose. Found something interesting, she said. Your bank flagged a mortgage inquiry on the ranch property. I didn't apply for any mortgage. I know. That's the problem. She turned the folder toward me. See this? Application submitted 3 weeks ago. All your information, social security number, property details, signature. I looked at the signature. It was close to mine, but not quite right. The W was too looped. That's not my signature? I know. That's forgery. The word hung in the air, heavy, final. Denise? Can't prove it yet. But who else has access to all your information? Your social security card is, or was, in your home office filing cabinet. Property deed too. She could have easily copied everything. I sat back, mind racing. What does this mean? It means she didn't just cheat on you. She tried to steal from you. We can file charges. Criminal charges, forgery, identity theft, fraud. Or we use it as leverage. She signs whatever settlement we want. We don't pursue charges. She walks away with nothing, but she walks away through. I stared at that forged signature, thought about Denise's face when she demanded I stop selling things. The panic, the fear. She hadn't just wanted the ranch for Troy. She'd tried to take it. Who else knows about this? Just you, me, and the bank investigator. I told them to hold off on their report until I spoke with you. I pulled out my phone, called Hank. Need you to look at something. Can you come to Vera Polk's office? He was there in 20 minutes. Vera showed him the documents. He studied them with that auditor's eye, methodical and thorough. This is sloppy work, he said finally. Whoever did this didn't know what they were doing, made at least 6 mistakes that would have flagged in any serious review. Can you prove who did it? I can analyze the handwriting, compare it to known samples. But Walt, if this was Denise, and I think we all know it was, we've got her. This isn't just divorce territory. This is criminal. Vera leaned forward. I need to know how you want to proceed. Criminal charges or settlement leverage? I thought about it, about Denise crying at the kitchen table, about her mother pleading for forgiveness, about Pastor Glenn talking about sacred covenants. Then I thought about that Valentine's card, the hotel receipts, 4 years of her lying to my face. Use it for leverage, I said. But I want it documented. I want her signature on paper admitting she tried to forge my name. And I want her out of my life completely. No spousal support, no property claims, nothing. She'll sign, Vera said, because the alternative is jail time. Hank nodded slowly. You know this changes things, right? This isn't just a man whose wife cheated. This is a man whose wife tried to rob him. That's a different story. Good. Let it be a different story. That evening, I sat in my kitchen with a beer and my phone. The posts from weeks ago were still circulating, but slower now. The frenzy had died down. Just occasional shares, occasional comments from people saying they'd been through similar things. One message caught my eye, from someone named Marcus. Your story gave me the courage to leave. 23 years I stayed with someone who didn't respect me. Filed papers yesterday. Thank you. I didn't respond, didn't know what to say, but I saved the message. Wednesday morning, Vera called. Denise's attorney wants to meet. They've seen the documents. When? Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, my office. I'll be there. Walt, we've got her. She knows it. This'll be quick. I hung up and looked out the window. The snow was almost gone now. Just patches in the shadows. The ground was soft, muddy. Spring mud season, we called it. Everything thawing, everything breaking free. She'd tried to take my land, my legacy, the one thing I'd built for my grandsons. Tomorrow, she'd learn what that cost. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to rain on the roof. Cold rain, March rain, the kind that washes away the last of winter. I kept thinking about tomorrow's meeting, about Denise signing papers, admitting what she'd done, about how quick it would be, clean, final. Around 2 in the morning, I got up, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, in the dark. Was this who I was now? A man who backed his wife into a corner with criminal charges? A man who sold her things online for strangers to mock? I pulled out my phone, scrolled back through old photos, found one from our wedding day. She was laughing, head thrown back, bouquet in her hands. I was looking at her like she was the only person in the world. 4 years ago. Where did it go wrong? When did she stop being that laughing woman? When did I stop being enough? I thought about what Pastor Glenn had said. Pride is a sin. Forgiveness is a virtue. But what about justice? What about protecting what's yours? What about refusing to be a doormat? My first wife, Linda, used to say, being good doesn't mean being weak. She'd say it when I let people take advantage, when I was too accommodating. You can be kind and still have boundaries, Walt. Was this boundaries, or was this revenge? I sat there until dawn, coffee going cold, rain still falling, no answers coming. At 7, my phone rang. Hank. You awake? Been awake. Having second thoughts? How'd you know? Because you're a decent man. Decent men have consciences. It's what separates you from people like Troy. She tried to steal from me, Hank. I know. She forged my signature, was going to mortgage my land without my knowledge. I know that too. So, why do I feel like I'm the one doing something wrong? Hank was quiet for a moment. I could hear him breathing, thinking. Because you're not like her. You're not like Troy. When good people do hard things, it hurts. That's how you know you're still good. She deserves consequences. She does, and she's getting them. You're not sending her to jail, Walt. You're just making sure she can't hurt you anymore. That's not revenge. That's survival. You sure? I'm sure. My sister made her choices. She tried to cheat you out of everything you've worked for. You're protecting yourself. That's not wrong. After we hung up, I got dressed, stood in front of the bathroom mirror, looked at myself. 67 years old, gray hair, lines around my eyes, hands rough from ranch work. I thought about my grandsons, about the ranch that would be theirs someday, about the legacy I was protecting. Denise didn't just betray me, she tried to take their future. That steadied me. I drove to Earl's feed store around 9. Needed to pick up salt blocks for the cattle. Earl was at the counter, ringing up old Clarence Mueller. "Walt," Earl said when Clarence left. "How you holding up?" "All right. Heard there's a meeting today, with lawyers." Small town, everyone knew everything. "Yeah, this afternoon." Earl leaned on the counter. "You know people are proud of you, right? Way you handled yourself. A lot of men would have just rolled over. Let her take everything. Don't feel particularly proud. That's because you're a good man. Good men don't enjoy having to be hard." He rang up my order. "But being hard don't make you bad. Sometimes it's the only thing you can be." I loaded the salt blocks in my truck, drove back to the ranch, my old ranch, the one Denise still lived in until the divorce was final. Needed to check on some equipment I'd stored in the barn. Her car was there. I'd hoped she'd be gone. She came out when she heard my truck, stood on the porch, arms wrapped around herself. She'd lost weight, face looked thin, tired. "Walt, just getting some things from the barn. Can we talk, please?" I stopped, looked at her. "What's there to talk about?" "I'm sorry. I know I've said it before, but I mean it. I was stupid. He made it sound so easy, like we could just sell and start over somewhere warm. You tried to forge my signature." Her face crumpled. I panicked. He said it was just paperwork, that you'd never know, that we could pay it off with the sale and steal my grandson's inheritance. It wasn't like that. That's exactly what it was like. I walked toward the barn. She followed. "What happens at the meeting today?" "You sign papers, admit what you did, take nothing, or we file criminal charges." "I could go to jail?" "Yeah." She stopped walking. "I never meant for it to go this far. Troy said—" "Stop blaming Troy. You made choices, you wrote that card, you took those hotel trips, you tried to mortgage my land. Own it." "I do own it. I'm trying to apologize." "Apologies don't undo damage. They just acknowledge it happened." I opened the barn door. Inside smelled like hay and diesel and livestock. Familiar, home. "Do you hate me?" she asked quietly. I thought about that. Really thought about it. "No, I don't hate you. I just don't trust you. And without trust, there's nothing left." I gathered my tools, socket set I'd bought before we married, fence, stretcher, the good wire cutters. When I came out, she was still standing there. Rain had started again, light, soft. She was getting wet, but didn't seem to notice. "I loved you," she said. "I did. I got scared. Of getting old, of being invisible, of never doing anything exciting before I died. So you decided to do something exciting at my expense." "I know. I'm sorry." "Yeah, you said that." I loaded the tools in my truck, started to get in. "Walt, for what it's worth, you deserved better than me." I looked at her one last time, standing in the rain, looking small and lost and sorry. "I know," I said. Then I drove away. The meeting was in Vera's office at 2 o'clock. I got there 15 minutes early. Hank was already waiting, briefcase open, documents spread across the conference table. "Ready?" he asked. "As I'll ever be." Denise arrived with her attorney at 2 sharp. Colette Marsh, a woman in her 50s wearing a sharp suit and a tired expression. The kind of tired that comes from knowing your client is wrong and there's nothing you can do about it. Denise looked worse than she had this morning, eyes red, hands shaking slightly as she sat down. Vera didn't waste time. Laid out the forged mortgage application, the handwriting analysis, the bank's fraud investigation report. "We have 3 options," Vera said. 1, we file criminal charges. Your client faces up to 5 years for forgery and fraud. 2. We report this to the bank, they pursue charges. Same outcome, but out of our hands. 3. Your client signs a settlement agreement admitting the forgery, waiving all marital property claims, and accepting no spousal support. In exchange, we don't pursue charges. Colette looked at the documents, looked at Denise. Can we have a moment? Take all the time you need, Vera said. They stepped into the hallway. Through the glass door, I could see them talking. Colette's face was stern. Denise was crying. Hank leaned over. She'll sign. How do you know? Because she's scared, and she should be. They came back in 5 minutes later. Denise's face was blank, shut down. Colette set a pen in front of her. My client will sign. Vera slid the settlement across the table. I watched Denise read it. Every line felt like a nail in the coffin of what we'd been. She signed. Her hand shook, but she signed. One more thing, Vera said. She pulled out a second document. Acknowledgement of attempted fraud. States you tried to obtain a mortgage using forged documents. This protects my client if any of this surfaces later. Sign it, and we're done. Denise stared at the paper. This is a confession. It's protection, Vera said. Sign it, or we file charges today. Another tear rolled down Denise's cheek, but she signed. Colette gathered the documents. We're done here. They left without another word. I sat there staring at the signed papers. It was over. 4 years ended with signatures and silence. You okay? Hank asked. Yeah, just strange. All that, and it ends with paperwork. That's how most things end. Not with a bang, just signatures and silence. But it wasn't over yet. Not quite. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Earl. Walt, you need to come to the feed store now. What's wrong? Just come. You'll see. I drove into town, pulled up to the feed store. There was a crowd outside, maybe 30 people. I recognized most of them, neighbors, church folks, people from the livestock auction. Earl met me at the door. Troy's inside. My jaw tightened. What's he doing here? Trying to buy feed on credit. Said he's starting a cattle operation. Said you'd vouch for him. I walked inside. Troy was at the counter, smooth smile on his face, talking to Earl's son, Danny. He saw me, and the smile widened. Walt, good timing. I was just telling Danny here that we're practically family, that you'd confirm I'm good for the credit. I walked up to the counter, looked at Danny. Don't give him a dime. Troy's smile faltered. Come on, Walt. Water under the bridge, right? Business is business. You're right. Business is business. I turned to the crowd that had followed me in, which is why everyone here should know that Troy Hutchins is bankrupt. 3 failed LLCs, 7 creditors, over $300,000 in debt. Troy's face went red. That's slander. It's truth. Hank stepped through the crowd, holding his briefcase. Public records. Want to see them? He set the briefcase on the counter, pulled out documents, bank records, court filings, foreclosure notices. This man tried to steal my ranch, I said. Convinced my wife to forge my signature on a mortgage application. Used her to try to access my equity so he could bail out his failed developments. The crowd murmured, shifted. I saw people pulling out phones, recording. Troy looked around, panicked. You can't just... I can, and I am. I turned back to the crowd. Anyone thinking of doing business with Troy Hutchins should know he's a con man. He's broke. And he'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get what he needs. This is defamation, Troy sputtered. It's documentation, Hank said, tapping the papers. All public record. Feel free to sue. I'd love to go through your finances in court. Troy grabbed his hat, pushed through the crowd. I heard his truck start, gravel spitting as he peeled out of the parking lot. Earl started clapping, then Danny, then the whole crowd. I held up my hand. I'm not looking for applause. I'm just protecting my community. Everyone here works hard for what they have. People like Troy see that as weakness, as something to exploit. We don't let that stand. An old rancher named Tom Westfall stepped forward. You did right, Walt, standing up for yourself, standing up for all of us. Others nodded, shook my hand, patted my shoulder. I left feeling lighter than I had in months. That evening, I sat on my back steps. The sun was setting, orange and pink, across the hills. Spring was really here now, green showing in the pastures, birds singing. The air smelled like wet earth and new grass. My phone buzzed. A text from my grandson, Jake. Grandpa, Dad said we can visit next month. Can we help with spring branding? I smiled, texted back, "Absolutely, I'll teach you the fence repair too. Time you learned." The ranch would go to them someday. That's all I ever wanted. That, and to look myself in the mirror. And I could do that now. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. April 7th, spring thaw in full effect now, mud everywhere, creeks running high, the kind of day that feels like the earth is washing itself clean. I sat in the courthouse conference room with Vera. Denise sat across with Colette. Judge Armstrong reviewed the settlement. No spousal support, no shared assets, clean split. Mrs. Brennan keeps her personal belongings. Mr. Brennan retains all property, vehicles, and financial accounts. The judge looked up. Any objections? Colette glanced at Denise. Denise shook her head. Then this marriage is dissolved. Papers will be filed today, effective immediately. That was it. 4 years ended in 12 minutes. Outside the courthouse, Denise caught up to me. The sky was overcast, threatening rain. Wind pulled at her jacket. Can we talk? Just for a minute? I stopped, looked at her. I need you to know I regret everything. Troy was a fantasy. You were real, and I destroyed it. You did? Do you hate me? I'd already answered this question once, but she needed to hear it again. No, I don't hate you. I just don't care anymore. Her face crumpled. That's worse, isn't it? Probably. I deserve that. Yeah, you do. I walked to my truck. Hank was waiting, leaning against the passenger door. Done? He asked. Done. We drove to the Junction Diner. Dolly brought coffee without asking, set down 2 mugs, topped them off, and walked away. She'd been working this place long enough to know when men needed coffee in silence. How you feeling? Hank asked. Strange, like I should feel something more. Sadness or anger or relief, but mostly I just feel tired. That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline for months. Now it's over. Yeah. We drank coffee. Through the window, I could see people walking past. Earl's truck pulled up across the street, life going on like normal. What now? Hank asked. Now I work, I live, I move forward. Maybe date eventually, maybe not. No rush. The posts still pop up sometimes, you know. You're a legend in the divorce community. I almost smiled. Didn't want to be a legend. Just wanted people to understand that respect isn't negotiable. Mission accomplished. Hank set down his mug. For what it's worth, Walt, I'm proud of how you handled this. You could have been cruel, could have destroyed her completely, but you weren't. You were just fair. Fair felt important. It is. We finished our coffee. Hank drove back to Billings. I drove to my place. Not the ranch anymore. The ranch was sold now. Denise got enough from the sale to start over somewhere else. To my small house with the decent yard and the back porch I'd built last month. The place felt like home now. Garden plot tilled and ready for planting, fence repaired, gate that didn't squeak anymore. I spent the afternoon doing normal things. Laundry, cleaning, simple, quiet tasks that felt like therapy. Around 5, Ruby called. How'd it go? It's done, she signed. It's over. How are you? Tired, but okay. Good, she paused. Walt, I want you to know what she did, what she tried to do. I'm ashamed of her. Our parents raised us better than that. I know. And I want you to know you'll always be family to me. Divorce doesn't change that. My throat tightened. Appreciate that, Ruby. Come to dinner next week. Let me feed you something that isn't microwaved. I'll be there. That weekend, Jake and his brother Sam came to visit. My grandsons, 16 and 14, good boys, strong, smart. We spent Saturday working on the property, fixed the back fence, planted the garden. They asked questions about tools, about technique, about doing things right. Why does it matter if the fence post is exactly level? Sam asked. Because a job worth doing is worth doing right. You cut corners, the fence fails, then you're doing the work twice. Better to do it once and do it well. They worked hard, no complaints. At the end of the day, we sat on the porch with lemonade, looking at what we'd accomplished. Grandpa, Jake said, Dad told us what happened, with Denise. I tensed. What did he tell you? That she tried to take the ranch, that you stopped her. That's about right. He said you were smart about it, didn't get emotional, just handled it. Tried to. Sam leaned forward. Were you scared? That you'd lose everything? Terrified, I said honestly. The ranch was supposed to be yours someday. Thought I might lose the chance to pass something on. But you didn't, Jake said. No, I didn't. Because you fought for it. Yeah. They were quiet for a moment. Then Sam said, "Thanks, Grandpa, for protecting our future." My eyes burned. I cleared my throat. Always. That's what family does. Sunday morning, we went to church. First time I'd been back since February. Pastor Glenn looked surprised to see me. I nodded at him. He nodded back. No words needed. After the service, people came up, shook my hand, asked how I was doing, said they were proud of how I'd handled things. Tom Westfall pulled me aside. My nephew was thinking about selling his ranch to some developer. City guy, smooth talker. After what happened with you and Troy, my nephew did some digging. Turns out the developer's got 2 bankruptcies and a fraud investigation. You saved him, Walt. He just doesn't know it. Glad I could help. You helped more than you know. A lot of us old ranchers, we get targeted. People think we're easy marks. You showed them we're not. I drove the boys home that afternoon, dropped them off with their dad, my son from my first marriage. Good man, raised his boys right. Thanks for taking them, Dad. Anytime, they're good kids. They are, he paused. And Dad, I'm proud of you, the way you handled everything. Mom would have been proud too. Linda, my first wife, the one I'd loved for 30 years before cancer took her. Think so? I know so. She always said you were the strongest man she knew, not because you were tough, because you were steady. I drove home as the sun set. The sky was pink and orange, clouds catching the light. Spring evening, birds singing, everything green and new. At home I made dinner, just for me, steak, potatoes. Simple. I ate on the back porch, watching the day fade. My phone buzzed. A message from Russell, the guy who'd bought Denise's car. Just wanted to say thanks again. My daughter loves it. Passed her driving test yesterday. You gave us a good deal despite everything. I smiled, texted back. Glad it's being appreciated. Another message, from Stella, who'd bought the ring. My daughter's engaged. She said yes, the ring is perfect. Thank you for letting us be part of its new story. I set my phone down, looked at the setting sun. Everything I'd sold, the ring, the car, the jewelry, all of it was being used, being appreciated, having new stories written. Denise had rejected those gifts, rejected what they represented, but someone else valued them, just like someone someday might value what I had to offer, when I was ready. Not yet, though. For now, I was content with this, my house, my porch, my peace. The ranch would go to my grandson someday. I'd made sure of that. Protected their inheritance, protected their future. That's all I'd ever wanted. That, and to look myself in the mirror. I could do both now. Spring always comes. Even after the coldest winter, you just have to survive long enough to see it. I'm sitting on my porch now, 6 months later. October again, full circle. The air's got that bite to it that says winter's coming, but the sun's still warm on my face. My grandsons are coming next weekend to help with the fall work. Sam wants to learn how to winterize the water lines. Jake's interested in equipment maintenance. I'm teaching them what my father taught me, not just ranch work, life work. How to stand up for yourself, how to protect what matters, how to know when to fight and when to walk away. People still recognize me sometimes. In town, at the feed store. You're that guy, they say, the one who sold everything online. Some think I'm a hero, some think I'm heartless. Don't much care either way. What I learned through all this, dignity isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up and dusting yourself off. It's about knowing your worth when someone else tries to tell you you're worthless. Love's important, but respect's non-negotiable. If you don't respect yourself, nobody else will either. That's not pride talking. That's just truth. Denise moved to Arizona like she wanted. Heard she's working at a resort somewhere, living the life she dreamed about. Good for her. I mean that. I hope she finds whatever she was looking for. Hope it makes her happy. Troy disappeared. Heard he left Montana altogether. Someone said Texas. Someone else said Nevada. Don't know. Don't care. Men like that always find new marks, new schemes. Eventually they run out of places to run. Hank and I talk every week now. Strange how crisis brings people together. He's coming for Thanksgiving this year. Ruby, too. We're building something new. New, not a marriage, just family, the kind that sticks. Some folks ask me if I'd date again. Maybe someday. Not looking, not avoiding it either, just living. If it happens, it happens. I'm 68 years old. I've got maybe 20 good years left if I'm lucky. I'm not spending them with someone who doesn't see my worth. The ranch I built, the legacy I protected, that's going to my grandsons. They'll learn how to work the land, how to fix what's broken, how to stand their ground when someone tries to take what's theirs. That's what matters, not the drama, not the viral posts, not being some internet legend. What matters is teaching the next generation that you can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be forgiving and still demand respect. You can love deeply and still protect yourself. Spring came after that long winter, just like I knew it would. The calves were born healthy, the grass grew green, the fences got mended. Life went on. I'm looking at my garden now. Tomatoes coming in late this season, pumpkins ready for harvest. The gate I repaired last spring, still solid, no squeaking, work done right last. That's the thing about good work. About doing things right, it endures. Weathers storms, stands the test. I survived the coldest winter of my life. Came out the other side whole, stronger even. And now I'm just living, working, teaching my grandsons, building something that'll last beyond me. That's enough. That's more than enough. Spring always comes, even after the coldest winter. You just got to survive long enough to see it.